Hi everybody, welcome to the second lesson in your week 1 biopsychology catch-up. In this session we'll cover the structure of the peripheral nervous system, picking up from last lesson. We'll also make the distinction between the somatic and autonomic nervous system, and we'll take a closer look at the autonomic nervous system. But first of all, let's start with a quick learning check of your nervous system so far. On the screen will come 10 multiple choice questions, and all you need to do is answer each question. You can do this on your paper. The video won't need to be paused. You'll have 30 seconds to answer each question. On your marks, get set, go. Here's our second question. Our third question. Question 4. Question 5. Question 6. Question 7. Number 8. Number 9. And last one, number 10. Well done if you got some of those correct. You can always rewind the video and take the test again, improving your marks each time. Now you may recall from the last session that there's multiple parts of the nervous system for you to become familiar with. We've got the CNS, PNS, SNS and ANS, all relating to the different components you can see on the diagram on the screen. Last time we looked at the central nervous system in detail, and in this lesson we'll focus on the peripheral nervous system, which is a little bit more complex than the central nervous system due to the number of subcomponents, as you can see on the diagram. So what exactly is the PNS? Well, we know it stands for the peripheral nervous system. It's made up of neurons that connect the central nervous system to the rest of the body. So even though we are talking about a different section of the nervous system, the central nervous system still plays a crucial role. And what's different is that this one contains several sub-nervous systems or subcomponents, including the autonomic nervous system and the somatic nervous system. So as we've seen before, this is the structure. We can see that under the peripheral nervous system, we have the somatic nervous system, and that doesn't have any subcomponents of its own. And we'll look at that in more detail shortly. The autonomic nervous system, on the other hand, which is also featured as part of the peripheral nervous system, does have its own two subcomponents, the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system. Now, the somatic nervous system, this maintains communication with the central nervous system and the outside world. So, for example, we all have sensory receptors in our skin, for example, that carry information to the brain and the spinal cord. And this is what allows us to sense things like cold weather, heat, pain, anything sensory like that. It also is responsible for things called motor pathways, and these allow the brain to control our movement through things like muscles. Now let's have a look at how we can use the somatic nervous system for some AO2 skill practice. Have a think, in each of these scenarios, what happens in your body when you take a plate out of the oven or microwave and it's too hot? What happens when you bang your little toe on the corner of a table? And what happens when you feel a fly crawling on your leg? So even though you may think that the very common sense answers, there's actually a lot of nervous system responses happening behind the scenes. So for this task, have a think in your personal experience, what happens to you, to your body, to your muscles in each of these scenarios. Pause the video for 2 minutes while you have a think and do jot your answers down as well. Now, before we look at what happens in those scenarios, there's two new terms we can use when describing how the peripheral nervous system affects our body. For example, we've got receptors and they detect stimuli from the senses and the environment. So we can find these receptors in our skin, for example. We also have effectors, and these are muscle and gland cells that bring about a response to a stimulus. Something like your muscles, your arms, your limbs, things that respond to whatever the receptors detect. So let's take a look at those examples you were just working on. What happens when you take a plate out of the oven or microwave and it's too hot? Well, you may find that you jolt or flinch or drop the plate, or maybe you leave it and you take a step back. Either way, our sensory information is being picked up by the receptors in our skin, and it's our effectors that are causing a muscular response. And it's the same thing in our other scenarios. So when you bang your little toe on the corner of a table, you may find that you reactively grab your toe. This is a response to the pain detected by the receptors and the muscular effects in terms of the effectors. So we can see the receptors detect and the effectors respond. So there are two new key terms to talk about in terms of the somatic nervous system. Now that leaves the autonomic nervous system, which is the other half of the peripheral nervous system. So what is it? Well, we know it stands for the autonomic nervous system. It controls this time our unconscious actions, so things that we know happen to our body, but we don't necessarily choose to turn them on or off, such as our digestive system. The ANS is crucial in reaching homeostasis, otherwise known as our equilibrium or our resting state. And it contains several sub-nervous systems, including the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system, as you saw earlier on the diagram. Let's have another thinking activity. So this time, consider a time when you felt stressed. Now, for example, this might be when you've nearly hurt yourself, when you've had a shock. It could be something that's given you a fright or a particularly stressful situation you found yourself in. After you've considered a time, have a think about the next two questions. Number one, what happened to your body during the incident? So whilst you were scared or whilst you were shocked. But then what happened to your body after the incident? Pause the video for 2 minutes while you think about something you could use as your example and about how this affected your body during and after the incident. Now it's the autonomic nervous system that has our two subcomponents in. So we've got the sympathetic nervous system, and this is responsible for helping us get into that fight or flight response, that mode that helps us deal or run away from stress. So you may have said that in your example, you nearly fell down the stairs, perhaps you tripped over running for the bus. Any of those things will have the following effect on your body, whether you want them to or not, which is why it's an autonomic process. You'll find that your muscles tense, you'll find that your heart rate increases, your blood pressure will increase as well, your pupils will become dilated, and saliva will be inhibited, and all those other things you can see on the diagram in front of you. Now, this is the fight or flight response, and it's caused by an adrenaline release in any of those stressful, frightening, shocking situations that you were thinking of. So this is our stress response, and it's the result of the sympathetic nervous system being triggered. Now the other half, the other component of the autonomic nervous system, is our parasympathetic nervous system, also known as the rest and digest state. And this is what happens when our body starts calming down. So in our task, we ask you to think about what happens after the incident as well. And most of the time, you'll experience a decline in heart rate, your muscles will relax, we're going to stimulate bile release. And again, not all of these we're consciously aware of. This is our body trying to find its homeostasis, its normal resting state after the fight or flight experience. So we can see there that the autonomic nervous system, which is part of our peripheral, has two divisions of its own, and each has a very different response and function to each other.